The read aloud task is a problem for many of you, and there are many false techniques floating around the internet. It seems difficult, but how can you get a 90 score for the PT read aloud? So today we have got something super special lined up for you. I will be sharing the top 10 tips for PT read aloud which will help you to get a 90 score even if your English is not that great. But before we dive into these mind-blowing but simple techniques, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you miss out on nothing. Hello everyone and welcome back to EduTrainX. I am Anurag, your host, and I wanted to show you these techniques that are tried and tested by many of our past as well as current students, and they are getting a solid score of 90 for the read aloud task, even in the real PT test as well. Our first tip is a very common question among the PT students. Should you read one line or the full text for read aloud? Well, the answer is in black and white. It's important to find a balance. If you're able to read one line perfectly, then you will score high. But can you guarantee saying everything perfectly in the first line? I guess not. See, the thing is, on an average, you will make similar mistakes throughout the reading. Whether you read one sentence, you read two sentences, or you read the whole text. The AI will give you similar marks depending on how many mistakes you made. So if you read one sentence of 10 words with 3 mistakes, you lose 30% of marks. Finding the balance is just as important. If your English is really weak, at least aim to speak around 50% of the text, if not 100%. Mathematically, the more words you speak, the probability of errors you make is divided and decreased.
Sir, what if I can't even read the first sentence?
बस कर पगले, रुलाएगा क्या? Our second tip, my friends, is to remember that the PT software is not perfect, but still pretty good. What does that mean? Well, don't get discouraged if you feel the software doesn't always recognize your pronunciation perfectly. It happens to the best of us. So the best approach you can take is to practice speaking on a software that gives you the best judgment. You can even try ours for free. PT algorithm is being worked on by engineers every day to make it more perfect than before. So my suggestion would be to stop trying to find ways of cheating and learn the golden tips from us to succeed. Tip number 3 is that speed matters. When you are reading aloud, find the sweet spot. Don't read too slowly, as it might make you sound unsure or not confident, and this will impact your fluency score severely. See the passage on the screen and listen to how I am speaking. The core of the problem was the immense disparity between the country's productive capacity. You see what I'm trying to say? See how unnatural it sounds. Please don't speak this way, never. Otherwise, you're done and dusted. On the other hand, don't rush through it either. Aim for a natural, comfortable pace that you use in your conversations, in your language. Imagine you are speaking to someone in a very fast speed. A normal human being will have trouble understanding such sentences, and this is just a software. How in the world can you imagine that it will understand you when you speak that fast? Let me demonstrate that for you. The core of the problem was the immense disparity between the country's productive capacity and ability of people to consume.
Khatam. Bye bye. Tata. Goodbye.
You got what I am trying to say here? The golden tip is to speak at a moderate pace. The core of the problem was the immense disparity between the country's productive capacity and the ability of people to consume, and you carry on speaking the same way till the end. Now let's talk about intonation. Tip number 4 is all about not overdoing your intonation. While it's crucial to vary your pitch to sound engaged, going above and beyond and trying to artificially introduce these intonations can make you sound unnatural. 99.99% of exam givers are from non-English backgrounds, and we don't have such intonations in many of these languages. So basically, we don't know what to intonate and try to modulate your voice on every other word, making it sound absurd. Keep it subtle, don't force it. Listen to how it sounds with artificial intonation. The core of the problem was the immense disparity between the country's productive capacity and the ability of people to consume. It's not compulsory to have intonation in your voice. If you can do it, you do it for some meaningful words. But otherwise, leave it plain and simple. If you don't stop, the scores will go down instead of going up because it will be regarded as unnatural. Tip number 5 addresses unwanted pausing. Avoid unnecessary breaks that disrupt the flow of your speed. Keep it smooth. Who told you guys that adding pauses here and there is required? It's absolutely wrong if you think so. You only need to pause a little bit at commas and the full stops, if you can, but don't try to enforce pausing unnecessarily. Imagine if I speak like this. The core of the problem was the immense disparity between the country's productive capacity and the ability of people. This is exactly what will happen to your PT scores getting thrashed by the PT algorithm. I hope you don't want to be in the same situation, right? So let's move on. Now, tip number 6 is a lifesaver. Skip the difficult words. If you encounter a word that you can't pronounce confidently, don't get stuck on it. Just skip it and continue. There's no penalty for skipping. So if you can focus on the words that you can nail, go for it. Let me show you what happens when you try to read the words you can't read properly. The core of the problem was the immense disparity between the country's productive capacity and the ability of people to consume. Did you see what happened to the oral fluency score? Instead, if you just skip those words that you can't pronounce properly, you will lose points for content, yes, but your oral fluency score will be good, and that will take you to a better score. Let me read it again and check the score again. This time, I'm going to omit the difficult words. The core of the problem was between the country's productive and the ability of people to consume. See? Now see the overall score. Do you see how much difference this simple tip can make to your score, especially the oral fluency? Mind blowing. Tip number 7 is about overstressing certain words, especially the words ending in S or ED. Avoid putting too much emphasis on these sounds, as it makes your speech sound again unnatural. Maintain a balanced rhythm. See how I read it. The core of the problem was the immense disparity between the country's productive capacity and the ability of people to consume. Great innovations in productive techniques during the and after the war raised the output of industry beyond the purchasing capacity of US farmers and wage earners. Why unnecessarily overstressing on these words? Maybe because your original accent is influencing your English as well. I'm not trying to make fun of anyone here, but because of these accent influenced words, you are making a complete mess. You are messing up the pronunciation, intonation, words like have, school, asked, parak, and so on. Your scores will get just lower. Solution? Work on your pronunciation. Search for any word on Google and add pronounce in the end. And listen to how it is being said and learn from it. If you are making mistakes, do it every time you have confusion and for any word you want to know. Tip number 8 is very essential. Watch your pronunciation. I was just talking about it in the last tip. Mispronouncing words can lead to point deductions. If you are unsure about a word, practice it in the 40 seconds given to you for preparation. Or if it is too difficult for you, as I said before, just skip the word. But do some hard work, brother, or on your pronunciation. The tricks can help you much here. Tricks can't help you much here because it's the basis of any language. Moving on to tip number 9, which is rhythm, and that is also crucial. You have to find a rhythm and stick with it. Whether it's a steady pace or slightly more varied, maintain the consistency throughout your reading. Don't try to focus too much on making it sound like a song, but more in a way that you speak naturally. If you don't use intonation in your natural language, that's fair. That's fair enough. Let it be. But whatever tone, pitch, rhythm you use, just keep it steady throughout. That will give you the most marks guaranteed. Final tip addresses a very common issue that happens to a lot of us in a stressful interview or exam-like situation, which is none other than nervousness. Before you begin reading aloud, take a deep breath. Relax and remember that you have got this. Confidence can make a significant difference in your scores. Deep breathing right before the exam definitely helps you. You can also use the personal intro task of the PT, which is right at the beginning of the test, to prepare you or set the stage for you like a dress rehearsal. You use this as a dress rehearsal and some nervousness will definitely be relieved when you do this particular section, which is the personal intro. And with that, I sum up the top 10 tips for acing the PT read aloud task. Remember, practice makes a man perfect. So keep honing your skills. Stay confident and you will be on your way to the coveted 90 score. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more PT exam tips. Good luck and see you in the next video.